Hi, I'm Georgia. I've spent the last 25 years as a high school history teacher, but my greatest achievement will always be my son, Mason. Since his dad took off when he was 3, it's been just us against the world. We've always been tight. Sunday brunches, movie nights, the whole 9 yards. That's why I was over the moon when he called saying he wanted me to meet someone special. Mom, I think she's the one. You're gonna love Vanessa. When Mason brought Vanessa home for dinner last spring, I had to admit she was stunning. Perfect makeup, designer clothes, and charm for days. She brought an expensive bottle of wine and complimented my home like she was auditioning for a Hallmark movie. Your house is absolutely adorable, Georgia. So cozy and quaint. The way she emphasized quaint made me wonder, but Mason was beaming, so I smiled and poured the wine. The first few visits were fine. But then came that afternoon when Mason ran to the store for ice cream, leaving us alone. This decor is really something. Did you buy all this at yard sales? Her sweet voice had an edge I hadn't heard before. Most of it was my mother's. Well, it shows. Look, Georgia, Mason deserves someone who can elevate him. His career is taking off, and honestly, she gestured around my living room, is embarrassing. I'm helping him find a better neighborhood. I nearly dropped my coffee mug. Before I could respond, Mason returned, and Vanessa transformed back into Miss Congeniality. Over the next months, it got worse. When Mason wasn't looking, there were eye rolls, snide comments, and accidental spills on my clothes. Once, she deleted photos of Mason's childhood from his phone, claiming it was clearing clutter. Last week, I met my friend Elena for lunch. We've been friends since college, and she doesn't sugarcoat anything. You look like hell warmed over. It's Mason's girlfriend. Something's off about her. What's she doing? It's what she's saying. How I'm holding Mason back. How our relationship is unhealthy. That's classic isolation tactics. My cousin's ex did the same thing. Cut her off from everyone who cared about her. I don't want to come between them. He's so happy. Is he? Or does he just look happy when she's around? That hit home. Mason had been calling less, canceling our brunches, seeming stressed. Then yesterday, Mason came over unannounced, practically bouncing with excitement. Mom, I did it! I proposed to Vanessa. We're having an engagement dinner next month with everyone. Her parents, our friends, the whole deal. My stomach dropped, but I forced a smile. That's wonderful, honey. After he left, I sat in my kitchen for an hour, thinking, if Vanessa was showing her true colors to me now, what would happen once they were married? I picked up my phone and dialed Elena. I need to find out who Vanessa really is, before it's too late. I know someone who can help. My brother-in-law's a private investigator. That night, I couldn't sleep. For the first time in my life, I was going to dig into someone's past. But this wasn't about revenge. This was about protecting my son. 2 days after meeting with Elena, I sat across from her brother-in-law in a coffee shop downtown. Jake, the PI, slid a manila folder across the table. Your future daughter-in-law has quite the history. The folder contained photos of Vanessa with 3 different men over the past 5 years. Each relationship followed the same pattern. Get engaged, isolate the guy from his family, then disappear when things got tough. There's more. She doesn't work at Morgan Stanley like she claims. She's a receptionist at a financial planning office in Oakwood. My coffee went cold as I flipped through the evidence. I needed legal advice, so I called an old college friend, Richard, who now practiced family law. Georgia? It's been what, 15 years? Too long. Listen, I need your help with something delicate. We met at his office the next day. Richard's salt and pepper hair was new, but his warm smile hadn't changed. So, your son's fiancé is a professional gold digger. Classic. What can I do? Mason won't believe me if I just tell him. Document everything. Record conversations if your state allows it. Save texts, emails, anything that shows her true character. And then what? Ambush my son with a PowerPoint presentation titled, Why Your Fiancé Sucks? No, you wait. People like Vanessa always overplay their hand. When she does, you'll be ready. For 3 weeks, I followed Richard's advice. I installed security cameras at my house after accidentally finding my back door unlocked twice. I saved the voicemail where Vanessa forgot I was on the line and called me a clingy old hag to someone else. Then came the bombshell. Vanessa had told Mason I was showing signs of early dementia and needed monitoring. My own son called asking if I'd been forgetting things lately. Mom, Vanessa's just concerned. Her grandmother had similar symptoms. Mason, I'm 52 and perfectly healthy. I had a physical last month. Vanessa says you've been hostile towards her since day one. Are you jealous of our relationship? That's ridiculous. When have I ever been hostile? Last week when she brought over banana bread and you threw it away? I'm allergic to bananas. She knows that. I told her at our first dinner. The call ended with Mason angry and me in tears. The next day, my friend Patty called. Georgia, what's this about you drunk dialing Mason's fiancé at 3 a.m.? What? I've never called her? Vanessa told everyone at book club. Said you threatened her. One by one, friends reported bizarre stories Vanessa was spreading. According to her, I was unstable, alcoholic, and determined to sabotage their relationship. The final straw came when Vanessa's father, Daniel, visited town. He seemed normal enough, a tired-looking man with kind eyes. We ended up in line together at the local bakery. You must be Mason's mother. I'm Daniel, Vanessa's dad. Nice to finally meet you. Vanessa's always had a flair for drama, but Mason seems like a stabilizing influence. Flair for drama? The restraining orders, the ex-fiancés, the job hopping? I'm hoping she's finally growing up. I nearly dropped my coffee. Restraining orders? From her last fiancé. Though, to be fair, that guy was a real piece of work. Sorry, I assumed you knew. As Daniel chatted on, oblivious to the bombs he was dropping, I made a decision. The engagement dinner was 2 weeks away. It was time to call Richard again. I need everything you can get on Vanessa's previous relationships. Court records, restraining orders, all of it. You're going nuclear? No, I'm going prepared. There's a difference. Richard worked fast. 3 days later, we met at a diner on the edge of town. I've got court records from 2 counties. Your future daughter-in-law has been busy. He spread documents across the table. Restraining orders from 2 ex-fiancés, police reports for vandalism, and small claims court judgments. She really knows how to pick 'em, I said, scanning the paperwork. Or they knew how to pick her. Notice the pattern? She claims emotional abuse, isolates them from family. Then when things fall apart, she's the victim. How do I show this to Mason without him shutting me out completely? You don't. Not yet. For now, protect yourself. I've drafted a cease and desist regarding the false statements she's making about you. The engagement dinner was set for Saturday at Bellini's, the fanciest restaurant in town. Mason texted me the details with a warning. Please try to be nice to Vanessa. She's really making an effort. That same day, my doorbell rang. A courier handed me an envelope. Inside was a flash drive and note from Jake. Security footage from her apartment complex. Watch the April 15th file. The video showed Vanessa keying a car, my car, in the visitor's parking space. The date matched when I'd visited Mason and found long scratches down my driver's side door. I called Elena immediately. She vandalized my car, on camera. Holy shit. What are you going to do? Wait for the dinner. I'm bringing receipts. Literally. I spent the next days gathering everything. Screenshots of texts where Vanessa accidentally sent me messages meant for others trashing me. Audio from my security system catching her threatening me when Mason stepped outside. And statements from neighbors who'd witnessed her screaming at me in my driveway. Saturday arrived. I wore my best dress, navy blue, Mason's favorite, and arrived early with Richard as my +1. Remember, stay calm no matter what. Let her show her true colors. What if she doesn't take the bait? Trust me, narcissists can't help themselves when cornered. The restaurant's private room filled quickly. Mason hugged me tensely. Vanessa air-kissed my cheek while digging her nails into my arm. Her father, Daniel, nodded from across the room, looking uncomfortable. Dinner progressed with Vanessa holding court, telling embarrassing stories about me, how I'd forgotten important dates, seemed confused at family gatherings. Georgia even showed up at my workplace once, completely disoriented. The security guard almost called the police. That never happened. I caught Elena's eye from across the table. She'd been witness to many of Vanessa's lies. After the main course, Vanessa clinked her glass for a toast. I want to thank everyone for supporting our relationship despite certain obstacles. She looked directly at me. Mason shifted uncomfortably. Some people just can't let go. They disguise jealousy as concern, manipulation as motherly love. The room grew silent. Daniel tried to interrupt. Vanessa, maybe this isn't... No, Dad, it needs to be said. Georgia has tried to sabotage us from the beginning because she can't stand not being the center of Mason's world. I remained perfectly still, my hand on my purse where the flash drive and documents waited. The truth is, you disgust me from day one, Vanessa spat, pointing at me. Always watching, always judging, always trying to turn Mason against me. The room gasped. Mason stood halfway from his chair, shocked, but I didn't react. Instead, I smiled and waved at Richard, who nodded slightly. The moment I'd planned for had arrived. I stood up slowly, all eyes on me. The silence in the room was thick enough to cut with a butter knife. I think we've all heard enough from Vanessa. Now it's my turn. I pulled out my tablet and connected it to the restaurant's display system that had been set up for engagement photos. Since Vanessa wants to talk about who discussed who, let's get everything out in the open. The first video played. Vanessa keying my car, clear as day. That's my car, after I visited Mason in April. Next came the audio recordings. Vanessa in my kitchen. Listen, you pathetic old cow. Once we're married, you'll be lucky if you see Mason on Christmas. I'll make sure he knows exactly what a burden you are. Mason's face drained of color. Vanessa, what is this? It's obviously fake. She's manipulating the recordings. Richard stood up. As Georgia's attorney, I can verify all evidence presented is authenticated and admissible in court. I clicked to the next document, the restraining orders. 2 previous fiancés. Both claimed emotional abuse, manipulation, and isolation from their families. Sound familiar, Mason? Vanessa lunged toward the screen. Turn that off. Elena blocked her path. Sit down. You've done enough damage. I turned to face my son directly. Mason, she's been lying about her job. She's not an investment banker. She's been spreading rumors that I'm mentally unstable. She's threatened me repeatedly when you weren't around. Mason walked over to Vanessa, his voice barely controlled. Is this true? Have you been threatening my mother? She's trying to ruin us. Can't you see that? Daniel approached the table, looking defeated. Vanessa, enough. This is exactly what happened with Greg and Michael. Shut up, Dad, Vanessa screeched, knocking over her wine glass. Daniel turned to me. Georgia, I owe you an apology. I should have said something sooner. Vanessa has patterns. I'd hoped she'd changed. The room erupted in chaos. Vanessa's mascara streaked down her face as she pointed at me. You planned this. You've been out to get me from day one. No, Vanessa. I've been protecting my son from day one. Mason removed the engagement ring from Vanessa's finger. We're done. Get your things from my apartment by tomorrow. You can't do this to me. I'll destroy you. You'll what? Richard interrupted. Make more threats? My client is pressing charges for harassment, vandalism, and defamation. I'd advise you to leave quietly. Restaurant security arrived to escort a screaming Vanessa out. Daniel followed, mouthing, I'm sorry, as he passed. The guests departed in stunned silence until only Mason, Elena, Richard, and I remained. Mason collapsed into a chair beside me. Mom, I don't know what to say. I had no idea. You weren't supposed to. That's how people like her operate. I should have trusted you. I should have seen the signs. I squeezed his hand. Love is blind, especially when someone's working hard to keep the blindfold on. 3 weeks later, Mason helped me plant new roses in my garden. Our Sunday tradition resumed. The restraining order is official. Vanessa can't come within 500 feet of either of us. Good. And how are you feeling? Embarrassed, relieved, grateful to have my mom back. That evening, Elena came over with wine to celebrate. You know what I learned from all this? I said, raising my glass. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about standing your ground and refusing to be erased. To not being erased? Elena toasted. And to family, Mason added, clinking his glass against mine. What would you have done in George's position? Should she have confronted Vanessa privately first? Or was the public exposure at the engagement dinner the right move? Would you have investigated someone your loved one was planning to marry? Or do you think that crosses a line? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you would have done differently, or if you've ever had to deal with a toxic person in your family. If you enjoyed this story and want more like it, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. New revenge stories are uploaded every day, and your support helps this channel grow. Thanks for watching.